Welcome to our final block of 2021 for the December Saturday Sampler. This month's block is a 9-patch made up of half-square triangles, flying geese, and a very simple corner clipper tool that we've used in the past. Our flying geese are going to finish at 2 inches by 4 inches, and our half-square triangles will finish at 4 inches, as will our center squares. Okay, so we're using 3 fabrics this month. We're using a light, a medium that's going around in our center, and the dark, which is our little corner clippers and the wings on one of our flying geese. So it creates these spools going around, or if you see a bat, it might look like bat ears. So let's go over to the cutting. For the light, you're given a rectangle. You're going to cut your strip into a 5.5 inch strip. You're going to yield 2 squares that are 5.5, trim it down, and make 2 squares that are 5 inch. The medium, go ahead and cut your strip at 7 inches wide. You're going to yield 1 7-inch square. You're going to cut that down and get 2 5-inch squares. And very last is a 4.5 on the medium, and that's our center. The dark is a lot of little pieces. It's a 7-inch square, again, for the flying geese, for the wings. And then from the remainder, we're going to cut 1.5-inch squares, and you need a total of 8. So what I did, because this equals 6, I just took that and made 1.5-inch strip, 1.5-inch strip, put them on top of each other, and just cut 4 1.5-inch squares, which yielded 8, or yields 8. Okay. So the method that we're going to do for the half square triangle is a little bit different. So what I've done with the half square triangle is I've layered the 5-inch medium with the 5-inch light. And the nice thing about this is you don't have to worry about the 7/8 inch rule to get a 4-inch finished half square triangle. What we're going to do is there's a little wiggle room in our half square triangle. So the 5-inch, I've drawn my line on the wrong side of my light. I've sewed 1/4 inch from either side of the line, and now we're going to cut it on the line, and we're going to press it toward the medium. There it is. So I'll do one. And the nice thing about this is they can be a little bit oversized because we will be trimming them down. All right, so I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to press this toward the medium. So if I'm pressing it toward the medium, remember the medium square or the medium side is up, and I'm just going to press it this way. So give me a second and I will go ahead and do that. Make sure you get the corners really well, okay? So once you get that pressed, you're going to go back and use your creative grid ruler. I really do like the 8.5 by 12.5. And what I like to do to make this a 4.5-inch half square triangle is to lay the solid black 45-degree line with the half on either side of my corner. And I just make sure that this half square triangle extends beyond the 4.5-inch mark on either side of the block. Therefore, I can go ahead and trim this side, making sure that that 45 is right on my seam, turn it, put your little, put your solid line back into the corner. And now this is laying right on the 4.5 and the 4.5, and I'm just going to trim this down to a 4.5. And having that 45-degree line going through the intersection of my medium and light ensures that I have a half square triangle that comes equal parts of medium and light in the corners. Okay, so you're going to do this to all 4 pieces. The next thing we're going to do to these half square triangles is to add a 1.5-inch square to the medium corner. And that is going to give us a little bit of a corner clipper right in this area. Okay, so go ahead and get our corner clipper tool. And because this is the angle in which I want to flip up the dark 1.5 inch square, I'm going to go ahead and put my corner clipper in this corner so that I'm trimming off this excess piece. So when I do that, this side goes up against the side of my square. The 1.5 inch marking goes along the bottom of my dark square, and then this one comes into the corner, and I can go ahead and trim that. So we're looking for the 1.5. We cut these 1.5, and that will give us a very nice look, like a snowball look. So once we've trimmed it, we're going to go ahead and sew that. Oops. Should have been ready. Alright, and this is going to be right at 1.5, at 1/4 inch. I have my 1/4 inch foot on. And then we're going to move right into the flying geese. Okay, here we go. Alright, so it starts right at the 1/4 inch. Keep an eye on that 1/4 inch mark. And again, it's going to come right out the intersection of the corner of my black piece right here. Okay. So we're going to do this to all 4 of our half square triangles that have been trimmed. So make your half square triangles, trim them down to 4.5, and then go ahead and do your corner clipper. Now this is just going to get pressed right into that corner. Okay. All right, so we have 4 of these going on. Now the flying geese. And again, this is a quick reminder of the flying geese. How to make those. So we cut, I think there were 5.5 inch squares, yes, 5.5 inch squares of the lights. Each one of these goes right side down on the 7-inch square of the black and the medium. We made our first line, and this intersection, this line intersects all of these corners as we go through and draw our line. So I've drawn my line, and I've only sewn 1/4 inch on either side from where the dark meets the light. I didn't go all the way out to the end of the dark. There's no reason to. I'm just sewing this piece onto the dark. So I've gone ahead and sewn that. The next thing we want to do is go ahead and cut that in half. Now again, this should be just a refresher for you. And we're going to go ahead and cut this on the line and press it toward the dark. So each one of these is going to yield 4 flying geese. The flying geese that we're using is the Quilt in a Day large flying geese ruler, and it contains a finished 4x8, or the one we're going to be using today is the one on the end, which is 2 inches by 4 inch finished. Okay, and we're going to yield 4 of the dark wings with the light body and 4 of the medium wings with the light body. Okay. All right, so we'll hold on to that. So we're going to go over to press these, and again, I'm pressing toward the dark, very important. I press toward the dark, and we're going to have these little tiny 1/4 inch wings hanging out on the sides of our dark fabric, because that triangle is much larger than our light. All right, so I'll go ahead and do those. Gonna do them both. All right, these are all rolled up. Okay, so let's take these 2 triangle pieces, and we're going to put them with opposite sides touching. So my sewn lines are parallel. This one's going in this direction, this one's going in this direction. They do not touch. As you can see, they're about 1 inch or so apart. I'm going to match up these corners, so the dark to the light and the light to the dark. best we can and draw one more diagonal going perpendicular to those parallel seams. Okay. Match up the corners. Again, these seams will not touch, and honestly, you can use any straight edge. I have my Flying Geese ruler. Gonna need a friction pen. As you can see, the Flying Geese ruler is not quite like a creative grid ruler where they offer you the grips around the 1/4 inch perimeters and on the bottom of the ruler. There is no grip on the bottom of the Quilt in a Day rulers. So I suggest, of course, this product called InvisiGrip. And what this is you unroll it, you place your Flying Geese ruler straight down on the InvisiGrip and trim around it. And what happens is a sticky, clear gripper, as you want to call it, is attached to the entire base of your ruler. So now the grip is not going to allow your ruler to slip as nice. So this is great. This InvisiGrip is great for any rulers that don't have any grippers on them. And it lies nice and flat, unlike some of the little small round stickers. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do on the Flying Geese, thank you Heidi, is we're going to go on either side. We're going to sew this way on either side, and please try not to flip your seam. Okay, we did a really good job trying to keep those. All right, we'll do this. Do both sides. To the line, 1/4 inch. And we're going to go ahead and cut that. I'm going to show you how to trim them up. Okay. So once we have sewn on 1/4 inch from either side of that, again, we'll take another straight edge, and this time we're going to cut these apart right on that line. Hold your ruler nice and still. And before we go and press these, what we need to do is to trim the seam allowance, this little seam allowance between this seam and this seam. So I'll get out my scissors, and I'm going to go into the seam allowance and give that just a little clip. Whoops, my tips didn't. There we go. Okay, so what this is going to allow us to do is to press our bodies into the wing. Okay, so this one's going to be pressed in that direction, and this body is going to be pressed into this wing. All right, so let's go over to the iron. So that one, see how the little slit right here allows us to press in opposite directions. Okay. Got a whole steam bath going. All right. So we're going to grab our Flying Geese ruler. We're going to look for this red triangle on the body of our Flying Geese, and we're going to trim out all 4 sides. So I'm going to place my ruler on the light, and I'm going to snug it right up to my seam. And I'm going to go ahead and trim those 3 sides and then rotate it. So I'll cut these apart, trim up this side, and trim up this side. Okay. So I still have this one side that's a little oversized. So what I like to do is just turn my Flying Geese over, match up this green line that's going from the 4x8 straight down into the corner of my seam, matching the edges, the top and the bottom, which I just trimmed, and this green line, so there's no mistake, oops, where I need to trim. And what this does is it takes the corners of my flying geese right here, this 90 degree, and gives it an equal 45 of dark and light. So we're gonna make this. We're gonna turn this around, do the other one, do it same. You get 4 of these. We're gonna make 4 of these, and those are going to be going into 2 units right back to back. So we'll have this one, and we'll also have the medium with the light body sewn to it. And we're going to need 4 of those units here. So we have this one made, we have this one made. Now we're going to go quickly work on the corner, and our block will be complete. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to our medium. We're going to put our corner clipper into each of these corners. So this is my black 1.5, and it's going to go right sides together with my 4.5 inch medium. So because this is the corner that I want to trim away, and this one gets folded over, I'm going to take my corner clipper, put it so that it goes around the 1.5 inch square on this side, this side, this side, and the top. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this side away. Okay, and it's just like the half square that we did. We're going to sew that at a 1/4 inch seam. The next one we're going to do is we're going to put in this corner. Because this is the corner that I want to remove, I'm going to angle my Creative Grid corner clipper tool so that I can cut away and remove that corner. So every time we have to angle our corner clipper a little bit different. And I'm going to go ahead and sew that at a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, last couple more. This one would be cut in this direction. Okay, and one more. So keep moving your corner clipper to expose just that corner. Every time I have to turn this a 1/4 turn. And I like to cut, sew, cut, sew, cut, sew on each one of these corners, and then I'll go and press them all open. And that is going to yield our center square. So once we go ahead and sew our center square, we can just complete our block by sewing our 3 4-inch finished squares together in rows, and then of course complete our block. So congratulations, you've just finished the 2021 block of the month. Don't forget to substitute your color and get that finishing directions out, and go ahead and finish up your quilt into the suggestion that we had in January. Okay, a couple quick announcements. We have a holiday book savings that came out via email. It's also on our app, and it's also on our website at closetohomestores.com. It is valid until Christmas, and there are a lot of sales going on. So come in soon. We have inventory on machines and cabinets, but they are not going to last. So think about it. Come on in. Really great deals on long arms as well. 2022 coming up in January. That begins Thursday, January 6th at 6:15 at night. If you wish to come in person, we will be having a class here. It also will be available on Saturday, January 8th, which is our second Saturday of the month. That's at 9:15 a.m. You can come in person. You don't have to. Everybody pays your $10 for the January kit. So as soon as you come in January, whether it's an in-person class or you're just coming in to pick up your kit, come till the end of January to get that. Okay, that's pretty much it. We will not be having a Friday morning in-store class for the block. Instead, we will be resuming and keeping going with our videos to help you. So it's not mandatory that you come in for the class. You can pick up your block and work on it at home and come in when you're ready. All right? I think we had a great year, and get those quilts finished. Bye.